Hello peeps, welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and today we're going to be reviewing 6 pre-workout by the guys over at Kilo Labs, kindly sent down to us by Cross the Limit, so thank you guys. Let's get into this as we cover the usuals, the taste, the price, the label and the effects. Is it going to be worth you picking up? Stick around because it definitely looks like an interesting one and it might just tickle your pickle. And if you are new here on the channel, please do hit the like button, sub button, bell icon, all the usuals, because it really does help us out and we can all be stimmed up and happy together. But let's get into this one. So first segment is taste and mixability, and we've got the pleasure of trying out sour gummy flavour. Will that focus? Possibly, possibly not. And it also comes in strawberry bubblegum. So both sound really nice actually. So let's get this down. The trusty DNA shaker. Do you know what? I take this shaker for granted, but it is so good. Hence why I always like to use it. So if you guys are in the market for a good shaker bottle, check this one out. I'm assuming they still sell it. Anyway, let's not digress too much. Let's have a taste. Definitely tastes like sour gummies, I'll tell you that much. Very strong. And I did have a good, 300 ml of water, so it's not like I've done anything below what you typically have to use. Yeah, very strong flavouring. Let's give it another go. Yeah. Very potent indeed. So it's going to depend on what kind of flavouring systems you like. If you like the more strong, forthcoming, sour, hard-hitting flavouring systems that are all up in your business, then you're going to like this one. If you like the more subtle, calm, serene ones, natural ones, obviously it's not going to be as good. But having said that, I think they've done a really good job. I'm not really getting any nastiness coming from the back end. If anything at all, it's probably a tiny bit too sour for me, but that's just me being very critical. Right, anyway, let's be serious now. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's nice, it's nice. It's just potently nice, if you get what I mean. It's like, you know when something's super nice, but it can get sickly if you hoon it too much. So, yeah, you get where I'm coming from, but they've done a good job. Let's move on to price. You know when you just take a pre-workout and you know it's going to be strong? That's what this is. So, if you want to pick it up and obviously wait for the full review to make a decision based on what I say, head over to crossthelimits.co.uk where you can use our discount code RB5%. That will knock off 5% off anything on the website. You can pick this 20 serving tub up for £39.41, or if you divide it up by the servings, it comes to £1.97 per the serve. So, yeah, if you've been around the pre-workout block, you'll already know that that's a little bit more on the expensive side, because when you put it on our consistent price scale that measures how expensive pre-workouts are, we're a 5 out of 10 on that scale. Is a bang average price point. This comes in at a 3.5 out of 10, so it's actually a little bit more expensive than your average pre-workout on the market, at least how we've deemed it anyway. So yeah, it's almost pushing itself into the premium realms when you're sort of dipping into the 3 out of 10 area. So yeah, what type of pre-workout are we getting for that price point? Well, as soon as I get to the gym, I'll go through the label with you. So buckle in, room for a ride guys. Kilo 6 going dark. Okay dudes, you know what time it is. It's label time. So what exactly are we getting for that premium price point? And it does look like a premium pre-workout, let's be honest. Look at that. It's all textured, glossy, you know, it's the works. So let's see if it's bite as well as bark. There we go. That's what I'm getting at. Right, so it's a 20.5 gram serving amount, so definitely above the average. That's always nice to see as a general indication of how stacked it is. So at the top we just got some vitamins, nothing too exciting, you know, just going to help with general bodily function, get you ticking over. But let's move down to the meat and potatoes. So first up we've got L-citrulline, pure at 6 grams, really nice to see. It's a dose most people look for. Amino acid, it's going to bump up your nitric oxide levels, increasing blood flow and pump will take it. Beta-alanine, 4 grams, above and beyond the norm. Normally only like to see 3.2 grams, so love to see that. should get even more itchy, tingly sensation effects from that, and it also helps with endurance when it builds up in your system. Then we've got Beta Pure, trademarked official version of betaine anhydrous at 2.5 grams, really nice dose again. It's going to help, it's a bit of a jack of all trades, so it's going to help with your pumps, power output, athletic performance, you know, all that good stuff. Then we've got agmatine sulfate as Agmas, a trademark version, again another fancy pants purified version, a gram, a really nice dose again. That's going to help to work alongside the L-citrulline to bring about more nitric oxide production, and it should help you hold on to your pump a little bit longer because it does act as a bit of an arginase inhibitor. Then we've got Vita Choline, which is a registered fancy pants, again, version of choline bitartrate at 800 milligrams. It's not our favourite form of a choline donor, but because it's a purified, actual, legit version of choline bitartrate, but because it's an official legit version of choline bitartrate, we would like to think that it's going to have better effects than a generic form, so it should definitely help alongside the other nootropics in this formula, which we'll come on to, with the focus and concentration side of things and your athletic performance in the gym ultimately. Then we've got caffeine anhydrous for 450 milligrams. Jesus, do you know what, I didn't actually check that until after I'd taken the pre-workout, and now I can definitely understand why, because I'm on the verge of tweaking. So yeah, that's very strong. That's like 2 or 3 energy drinks worth, like 4 or 5 cups of instant coffee, slamming them down one after the other. It's the main stimulant in any pre-workout. It's going to wake you up and get you moving. So yeah, I should be bouncing off the walls when I go in the gym for my chest and tricep session shortly, fingers crossed. Well, obviously in a good way. I don't want to be bouncing off the walls in a bad way. Is there a good way of doing that? Anyway, let's move on. So beta-phenylethylamine HCl, otherwise known as beta PEA, which is 400 milligrams, a really nice dose there. It's, you know, we've seen higher, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not to be sniffed at. It's a nootropic, so again, it's going to help with your focus and concentration, and it'll actually tie in nicely with the next ingredient, which has similar effects and works in a similar way, scientifically speaking, which is Ignitro, a trademark version, again, fancy pants. We're seeing the premiumness of the pre-workout now. Ariagerensis, 300 milligrams. So, like I said, should synergize well with the aforementioned one. Bring about more focus, drive, energy. And then we've got theobromine, 250 milligrams, really nice dose. It's that ingredient in chocolate that dogs are allergic to. Again, love dropping that fun fact. But it's a very mild stimulant. It should help a bit with your energy levels, blood flow, mood. You know, it's got a few different benefits, but nothing too crazy. But it normally pairs up nicely alongside other stims like caffeine, for example. Then we've got pink Himalayan sea salt, 200 milligrams, really nice. You know, would like to see it a bit higher, but at the same time, just glad it's in here because obviously it does help with your hydration and therefore pumps and endurance. Then we've got potassium chloride, 200 milligrams, just some minerals there. Again, similar to what I said before about the pink Himalayan salt, it's just going to help with your hydration, you know, your electrolyte balancing, pumps, endurance. Synephrine hydrochloride, 50 milligrams, nice little fat burner ingredient, little cheeky one chucked in there. It's going to help to rev you up, give you more energy, and like I said, some fat burning benefits to boot. Then we've got estrogen at 50 milligrams, nice digestive aid. It's going to help get all these ingredients through you as quickly and efficiently as possible, which is just as well because it is a stack label, let's be honest. And wrapping off with alpha-yohimbine at 3 milligrams, holy moly. Okay, so it's another fat burning type ingredient. It's going to help rev you up, give you a ton of energy. It's a Marmite ingredient, to say the least. You know, if it's dosed too high, and for me personally, 2 milligrams is my cut-off point. So anything over that, it generally pushes me over the edge and I get a bit jittery, unsettled, shortness of breath, almost like a ill feeling, salivary. Just, you know, if you've used it, you know exactly what I mean. If you haven't used it, you're probably thinking, what the hell is this guy going on about, dribbling and whatnot? What's going on here? Is it a pre-workout or what? But yeah, you know what I mean if you've used it before. But yeah, so it's in here at a dose that I'm a little bit worried about personally for my own preference. But you know what? Let's just go with the flow and see what happens. So yeah, that's the one that worried me the most, even above the caffeine and the other stimulants. So yeah, give it the benefit of doubt, see how it comes together. Looks like an absolutely stacked label. Can definitely see the price point being justified there, especially with all the premium trademarked, registered, fancy pants, potent ingredients. You know, they've obviously spared no expense here, even, like I say, on the marketing. So yeah, let's get ourselves in the gym and I'll be back with the effects shortly. Okay guys, let's jump right into it. Effects of 6 pre-workout by Kilo Labs. in the couple of times I've had the pleasure of using it, with today being chest and tricep day. So let's get straight into it. Beta alanine, I'd say it kicks into a medium degree. I'm going to say 6 out of 10 on the tingle scale, and I think that's due to the fact that there's just so much in this pre-workout. So there's a lot competing for digestion, a lot of stuff getting in the way, a lot of things taking your mind away from the beta alanine itself. So yeah, if you like your tingles, you're going to get some here, but it's not overwhelming. So that could be a good thing if you're not a big fan of it, because it won't completely write you off. You know, you're not going to be itching in places you didn't know existed, but you're still getting some. So nice happy medium. What comes in quite quickly after that, as I'm sure you could guess based on the label, is that 450 milligrams of caffeine hit. As I alluded to in the label section there, you definitely feel that hit you. Your heart rate goes up. You're ready to get firing on all cylinders within half an hour. What comes after that, after about 10-15 minutes after that half an hour point, I would say that's when the nootropics start to really settle in. So from an energy standpoint, yeah, you're good to go from half an hour. But then the nootropics start to really settle into your system and synergize with the stimulants. So you start to just feel more and more dialed in as your gym session goes on. And I've had a fantastic session every time I've used this. To my pleasant surprise, it actually wasn't a completely unusable amount of energy. It was actually quite nice, dare I say it. So the alpha yohimbine dose in there, obviously 3 milligrams, to me at least, it felt closer to 2. So it's within the realms of the sweet spot that I can personally deal with. We're talking such minuscule doses with that ingredient that it can go off a cliff face if it's slightly too much for you to handle. But as I say, for whatever reason here in this scenario, it was fine. You know, I would say it felt similar amount of alpha yohimbine to the one I reviewed yesterday, which was Psycho Sam, that Insane Labs one, I think it was. So yeah, around the 3 milligram mark. So yeah, I was pleased about that, because I really did think that it would bust me up. As I alluded to again in the label section, it can have some negative effects if you're sensitive to it. You know, it can really make you dribble a lot, jitter, you know, feel cold sweats almost, just general not pleasant feelings. But yeah, this one, they seem to have balanced it perfectly, at least for me. So the energy is very, very high, don't get me wrong, but it's usable. And that's the key word, it's usable. You can apply it to your training. You know, you're not pinging off the wall, spitting feathers, having a horrible survival mode time. You're able to channel that into your weights. So yeah, I felt strong, locked in. However, having said that, there isn't an illicit feel to this pre-workout, so there's no DMAA, DMHA vibes, you know, floatiness or off your chops feeling. It does feel within the realms of being, you know, all above board, but on the cusp of that. Obviously it does still have a readorensis at a large dose, PEA and some other bits and pieces that really crank you up, but it's cranking you up within the healthy realms of cranking you up. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh my god, you're tripping balls. So yeah, it's a stim junkie experience, but I would say it's not a heavy stim junkie experience. You know, it's on the lighter side. So like I said earlier, it's with that being said, it allows you to train efficiently on it. By the way, the energy lasts a good 3 hours. I'd say there's no crash, surprisingly, because that is one big wallop of caffeine, but I do think the nootropics keep you dialed in beyond your gym session. Like, you do feel a bit physically dead, don't get me wrong, because you train hard on it, but I mean, you can see me talking now, it's been a good 2.5 hours, I'd say at this point, 2.5 since I took it, and I'm still with it. I don't feel like I'm crashing off or anything, so that's good. You do still feel the nootropics for the most of the rest of the day. You know, you feel locked in and positive and mood boosted and whatnot. So that's always good. You know, it's not a depressive come down like you can get from some of these other type of stim junkie pre's that more go down the nootropic illicit route, you know, with your DMHAs, DMAAs and whatnot. Anyway, back to my point at hand. So what you get alongside the energy and the focus is a nice amount of pumps as well, and endurance to boot. So I noticed that, and I'll chuck up a couple of pictures here, my pumps were noticeably juicier than normal, and obviously that is primarily down to the L-citrulline and the AgMAS, the agmatine sulfate, and other bits and pieces play into it, the electrolytes, the salt, whatnot. So you build up juicy pumps on this pre, and that's a combination, of course, of the pump ingredients working alongside the high energy drive and focus. So they're all complementing each other to give you a nice dirty pump. It's more of a vascular, deep contractional pump rather than a Michelin Man filled out one, but nonetheless, it gets you pumped and it gives you a good gym session. And like I said, I think they've balanced it well, because I'm not getting any, or I didn't get any negatives from it. You know, like I said, the Alpha Yimbine was dealable. It was, you know, it didn't ruin my life, and it hasn't suppressed my appetite, hasn't crushed that, it hasn't caused me to miss any meals. Obviously, I still wouldn't take it anywhere close to bedtime. I would make the cut-off point, honestly, mid-afternoon, if you plan on getting asleep at a reasonable time. So there is always going to be that factor to it. But overall, great gym session every time. Minimal negatives, if any. So yeah, I really think the pre-workout's a fantastic one. Definitely worth that price point. Like I said earlier, it is definitely more towards the premium end, but you are getting a lot for your money. So what do you expect? And it has obviously come over from the US, being stocked across the limit, so there's always going to be that slight price inflation where it's come overseas. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Between avoid, shortlist and buy, I would say buy this one if you're in the market for a high energy Alpha Yimbine slapper, where you're also getting a nice amount of mood elevation, focus and pump alongside it. But like I said, for me, a copable amount of Alpha Yimbine, which is nice. But yeah, guys, I think I have covered everything. Honestly, I wouldn't even be able to recommend these guys change anything. I wouldn't be able to pick the label apart. You know, you saw it with your own eyes. It's well dosed. It covers every element you look for in a pre. They've got premium ingredients dosed well. So yeah, I don't honestly have a bone to pick for this one. And we've always traditionally liked Kilo Labs pre-workouts in all the ones we've tried. They've always hit, and most of our audience would agree with that as well. So yep, they get our stamp of approval. But head on over to Cross the Limits, check them out. Like I said, our code does work on everything. They stock a lot of premium, high-end, hard to find, hard to get hold of pre-workouts. So yeah, it's your one-stop shop to all of your supplement needs. Let us know if there's anything else you want to see us review. You guys know the deal by now. All the usuals. And as always, stay stimmed. And you will on this one, trust me.